Hey, hello, welcome back. Well, before we go, I did want to talk about the woke situation in America, and actually, it's in the world, but we're really having it hidden from us. But anyway, what's been brought to light in America has been especially the fact that very important agencies, for instance, the fire department, are being held to woke principles. Now, before I go any further, if you enjoy this video at the end, please like, comment and subscribe, and it would be a big help to us, Beth and I, for running our programs on our YouTube channel. It would help if you would share. But anyway, on to the subject. When I was 15 years old, my father took me down to the recruiting office for the army. He had already written to the bandmaster of the military band in the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, would you believe? Now that was a famous regiment, the original Thin Red Line. And the Thin Red Line was so described because the Scots soldiers really were so hardened, were so tough, that they actually spaced them out in line when going into battle. So in other words, they took the place of several men, that they were so fierce. I can tell you from experience that they were a tough lot when I went into the army. I went into the army at 15 and a half actually, and I served 8.5 years. And I saw what soldiers go through. Now, I didn't do any of that myself. You could say that I was rescued by woke, in that they didn't allow me to go in. But I went in as a kid, so that was the thing. I didn't become an adult in the army until I was 18. But to get on to what I really wanted to talk about was the fact that we are soon going to see infantrymen, the Marines, the Marine Corps, are going to go down to the southern border in America, and they're going to be handing out some rough lessons, I think, for the cartel, who really won't know what's hit them. Now, we see a lot about the Marines. The culture of the Marines is a very famous one, and there was the quote that I remember most about the Marines. I mean, there's all kinds of sayings like "semper fide," where you seize the day. Sorry, I'm not always good on pronouncing things, and I'm not good on pronouncing French names, but a man called Jean-Pierre Vienno, it looks like V-N-O. Jean-Pierre Vienno was a French war correspondent, quite a well-known one, and he described the American Marine as the most incredible warrior that he had ever seen. And it has been regarded as, the Marine has been regarded as being the toughest soldier in the world. Now, how could they introduce woke into the Marines? How could they possibly do that? Can I give you a few reasons why I don't think that they could? Here's the kind of, when a Marine goes out on a patrol, this is what he carries with him. Carries a carbine. It's 7.5 pounds. We'll add these up later for you. 7.5 pounds. His automatic rifle is 10.5 pounds. Then he has body armor that he has to wear for his life, 30 pounds. Now, just his helmet alone, bare, without any of the stuff that you see on there, cameras and all of those technical things that are on there, just the helmet alone weighs 4 pounds. Now, that's nothing compared to the backpack, which the backpack loaded with all that he needs for a patrol weighs 40 pounds. Now, that's not counting the bits and pieces that he's going to carry, like water and food if he's going to eat. They go on patrol for roughly 4 to 6 hours at a time. Unless they're on an extended patrol, then they have to carry all of this with them for maybe sometimes 24 hours. These guys are not supermen, but in fact they have to behave like they are. And they may only be 18 or 20 years old. Now, just to give you an idea, I hope, without fiddling about with the camera, I hope that you'll be able to see. 40 pounds. Now, all of that I've given you, added all together, with a few bits and pieces, like I said, can come to 104 to 140 pounds. 140 pounds. I weigh 140 something pounds. An adult male, that's what an adult male weighs, and they carry that. Now, they don't just lump it from one place to another and put it down. That's what they have on their back, on their person. These are supermen. These guys are mighty warriors. And then they fight. They fight, and they may have to move to save their lives or to save the life of their buddy. And they don't leave their buddies in the car. They are brothers. So now, given that they're carrying 140 pounds, let me show you what 40 pounds looks like. That's a full bottle, and I put it on the scale, so there's no question. It weighs 40 pounds. Now, that's not a big thing. I can lift up 40 pounds, and I can carry it from over there to over there, and I can actually lift it onto the drinks dispenser. Can I lift it up and carry it from here down to the road? I don't think so. This is what this means in real terms. And don't forget that we did say that the backpack is 40 pounds. That's not counting all of the rest of the stuff, which can take it up to 100 pounds, to 140. So it gives you an idea what these guys are going through. Now, the army didn't work for me. I didn't like it. I'm not an army type. I'm not a warrior. But I respect that these guys are. And when you think that when these men just like this served in Vietnam, which was a very unpopular war, they served in Vietnam under the most difficult conditions, and when they returned, they were treated disgracefully by the American population. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot, because of the way that the media had reported it. And there's still lots of bitterness among veterans. But one of the things I wanted to touch on was the fact that in America right now, there is a video still out on YouTube of a lady in Congress, and she read out the kind of money that the American government or the past administration were spending on illegal immigrants. Now, the fact that a man is an illegal immigrant means that he is committing a felony. Oh boy, they've been making a lot of fuss about about being called a felon, haven't they, when it suits them. And yet, they're veterans who have laid their lives on the line, right? I mean, that's the condition, isn't it? You sign up, you do your training, you put your £100 pack on, and you go out knowing fully that you may not come back. Now, this has been made extra. I've had an extra awareness of this just lately because my dear friend Michael is an ex-fireman, and he was a fireman in the UK and also in New Zealand, where he later spent most of his life, his adult life. And he told me some of the things that he had experienced, harrowing things where, depending on your judgment and how you act in the moment, you may cost someone or save someone's life. And that was a hard job. Now, they've been showing some of the people who have been accepted on the diversity formula to be firemen. And I suppose that the same is going for the Marines. Now, I have huge respect for women. I'm not in any way phobic in any of those things, but I do believe that there's a man and a woman, and that's the combination. And the reason that that combination works is because it was a God-given formula. It takes a man to impregnate a woman, and it takes a woman to produce a child. And it's simple biology. It doesn't take any working out. So, in a slightly more light-hearted way, if you take all the lesbians and you put them on one island, and then all of the gay guys and you put them on another, given 1.5 generations, and the islands will be uninhabited, and that's a fact. So, back to my admiration for the Marines and the saying that once you are a Marine, you're always a Marine. And even though I didn't like the army, I didn't enjoy it at all. And I was only a musician. I was a non-combatant. When I was 16 years old, I was in Berlin. But, of course, I'm not that old that I could have been there on active service, okay? So I was there when on my 16th birthday, I was serving with the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders in Berlin. And then I served in Africa and in parts of the UK and other places, but never on active service. So I'll end off this now, try to keep it down to relatively short, and thanks for being with me.